Hi everyone, we want to take this opportunity to thank you guys once again for tuning in to Community Bible Fellowship Church. We're doing a great thing for you guys today. We want to introduce to you two of our closest friends and two of our really considered to be family members, Mr. Danny and Paige Lowry. We're sitting here talking about church stuff, and this is Clergy Appreciation Month. So we wanted to just let you know that there's people that's not necessarily sitting in the congregations each and every week, but there are people that are sitting out there that want to see what they can do to help their pastors during this pandemic, but also something to say to encourage to help the pastors' wives as well. I got my beautiful wife, and this Miss Paige Lowry, this Mr. Danny Lowry, and we're just excited to be able to come to you. So I want to just jump right in and let Sharon know that I'm not going to ask her a whole bunch of questions because she going to choke me if I do. So I'm just going to start right in. Danny, what do you think the people need to do now during this pandemic to kind of facilitate, help, and encourage their pastors?
Well, there's probably a couple things. Depends on the pastor, right? But during the pandemic, the thing that's hit me the most is you're probably a little bit low on donations.
Yeah.
Right? Because people aren't coming in, they aren't contributing like they should. So really you can support the pastor by supporting the church and donating as you normally would anyway, because it's very, very stressful for a lot of people, and that'll take a lot of pressure off the pastor because he's got to keep the church alive. That's one of the biggest things. But the other thing is, you know, in the church, we all draw a lot of emotional support from our pastor. We get the support from the church family. And sometimes we forget that maybe the pastor needs a little bit of emotional support back from us. He's human. He deals with all of our troubles and issues, highs and lows in life. And so it's good for us to recognize that and give a little bit back to him and support him emotionally, and make sure that he's in a good place where he can give us the right message in the right way.
I hadn't thought about that, but that's a good way of looking at it, because people tend to think that pastors are Superman.
Right.
and whether they know it or not, life it can become kryptonite. And when that happens, I think people think when they see a pastor fall, or when they see a pastor not doing the expectations that they feel personally, they don't realize that he's not just dealing with their situation, but he got his own situation, because he's married and he's got stuff at home that he has to deal with. And so that's a good point that you brought out.
And he can get emotionally drained just like the rest of us.
Right.
We need to support him.
And that is so true. So this is his lovely bride, Miss Paige Lowry, and I want Miss Paige to share with you on how you feel like the church can help in some kind of way with the pastor's wives, because I'm telling you, Paige, pastors' wives get drugged through the mud. I mean, they get drugged because the people in the congregation have an expectation of her, and they don't realize that that expectation is unrealistic if it's not according to God's will, which the wife's first and foremost responsibility is to make sure that she, as it says, a keeper at home, and make sure her husband, which is their pastor, is okay. So give some quick, loving encouragement to these pastors' wives that's out there.
Well, it's something to really think about, because you always think about your pastor and his wife just always being there for you. So I think it's important to always keep your pastor's wife in prayer, always, and be available for them, either by text or by phone call. Send notes, cards, which I'm trying to get better at. But just to know that they have someone that's thinking about them, because, you know, emotionally you do get drained. Even being anybody's wife, you get emotionally drained. I can imagine being a pastor's wife and taking on everything. So a card, a note of thanks would be great. Just to know that, you know, that you're thinking about flowers, a meal, you know, something like that, a phone call. Just a note of appreciation would be great.
Good. And Dan is just itching to add more to it. I can feel it. Go ahead, Dan.
Well, my wife would probably tell you that I don't know a lot about wives.
Yeah.
I don't know what I can.
Yeah, emotional support's very important.
So, Miss Sharon, what do you think that you would want to share with? Because, like I said, it's sad, but it's called Clergy Appreciation Month, which it should be Pastors and Wives Appreciation Month. Because if he's a pastor and he's got a wife, she's helping him to be the success or the encouragement for that congregation, because he brings a lot of weight home and lays it in her lap, whether the folks in the church may not, they may know it, may not know it, may not even care, that you hear a lot of grief from your pastors, from me, about stuff that goes on in the church as well as in the community, and you have to carry that stuff. So how would you encourage a pastor's wife right now?
Well, both had great ideas about supporting and encouraging the pastor, and also being what we call sister circle, having someone that can come alongside and encourage that she'll be willing, because most pastors' wives don't have friends. They really usually are lonely because it's hard to bear all of some of the things that they have to carry on. Also, just those two things help, because the suicide rate is high with pastors and their wives, because they're always importing and don't have very much to export or people to export it. Time to get, it's good that they would get away, let their congregation allow them to get away and have some time to regroup, refresh, be encouraged, and spend time. So both of those ideas were great.
Well, as I said earlier, we're in the greatest part of the month, the year, as I would say, Pastor Appreciation and Clergy Appreciation Month. But I wanted to make sure that you know that during this time with everything that's going on, I want to make sure that everybody understands, especially the members of the Community Bible Fellowship Church, we miss you guys and we love you guys. But at the same token, you don't realize the stress that we're under, because we're put in a position to where I don't want to call it a new norm, but I want to call it God is removing us from comfort. And when God removes you from comfort, He puts you in an environment to where you have to be solely dependent on Him, because at that particular time, He has a lot He wants to address to you as well as me. So we need to be tentative in prayer and Bible study, as well as fellowshipping with, one another through this type of venue. So as we get through this month of October, I want you to be mindful that you have an opportunity to bless your pastors. You have an opportunity to encourage your pastor's wives. That's one of my biggest pet peeves for this year. I told Sharon, I said, I think that the members of Community Bible Fellowship Church do this well, because they really and truly lift Sharon up. But I feel sorry for some of the ladies that she talks to and deal with, and they feel like they're a doormat and they're beneath their husbands, and that's not the way you should treat your pastor's wife. The pastor's wife should always be elevated as his support mechanism, as his best friend. And I look at it like, if you attack my best friend, you're attacking me. So if you attack my wife, you're attacking me. So when you're dealing with life and you're dealing with situations in life, always remember, people will allow you to do certain things, but they will not trust you afterwards. So as you look at this Pastor Appreciation Month, as you look at what God is doing to you as an individual, remember, you have an obligation to take care of the shepherd of your flock and make sure that he and his family are okay. Because without them, you're going to be wandering, and therefore the wolf has an opportunity to devour you. So God bless you. Look forward to seeing you soon, and we have many more great things coming your way. Thanks again to Danny and Paige Lowry for spending their time with us to help you to be better Christians as well as church members